Here is an EO Alive LeGrand story.
LeGrand High School's graduation is coming up this weekend. The class of 2019 seniors will be walking the platform this Saturday at 10 a.m. at LeGrand High School Gymnasium.
I feel like it's not believable. I feel like the school's a little bit lying to us. I don't know. It's felt like it's make-believe, I guess. It's scary to think that we're just going to go and leave and live our lives type of thing, that we actually have no excuses as an adult.
It's surreal almost. It's just crazy how much life's going to change now, because it's been 4 years of the same stuff, a routine, and now we're basically just dropped into uncertainty.
It's sad, kind of, to leave all these memories behind, and I'm scared, but I'm also really excited because I know that college is going to be a lot of fun.
Probably junior year, the first time we won state for a cappella, just because it was like we'd worked really hard, and then this year we won again, and it was like we'd worked hard too, and so it was like it just paid off and felt really rewarding and fulfilling, especially when you get so close to the people that you're singing with all the time.
Definitely football and band. Those are my main two extracurriculars during school, and making it to playoffs for football and making a brotherhood there, and then all the memories and trips for band.
Making all these new friends, getting to know all the teachers and all the students, basically just meeting a bunch of wonderful people.
Probably one of my most favorite memories is winning state for track. First time ever that the boys had won state. And we won it by 20 points, that's a really outstanding win. And it's really awesome to be a part of that legacy, and it was just so amazing. I plan on joining the Air Force as aircraft armament, and I hope to come out of basic training as an E2.
So I have the Shriners football game at the end of the summer, which is like an all-star game. And then after that, I'm going on an LDS mission, so that's 2 years. And then after that, we'll see where things go.
I'm going to go to the University of Oregon, and I'm going to do the marching band there, and I'm hopefully going to study art and music.
I'm going to Oregon State. I'm in Corvallis, and I'm going to study pre-nursing and psychology, and then hopefully get a master's as a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And I'd like to study abroad and help survivors of sex crimes in developing countries.
I'm taking a gap year right now. During that gap year, I'm just going to be working here at Brent Clapp Media Services, doing stuff for Eastern Oregon Alive and all of that stuff. And then once I do that, I'm going to go to EOU, run for my dad, and then study business. And then once I get all done with that, I'm thinking about transferring or doing a postgraduate program in film or something like that.
I've got big plans. So after I graduate, I'm heading off to basic training because I'm in the Army National Guard, and I'll be in Missouri for 2 months for basic, and then I'll be in Texas for 4 months for AIT, which is where I'll be trained as a medic. And then I'm coming back in late December, and then I'm heading down to Utah to go to BYU, and I'll major in physiology and developmental biology and minor in psychology. And I'll also do the ROTC program there. And then after that, I'll go to medical school. And then after that, I'll do my residency in aviation medicine, and I'll become a flight surgeon in the Army and an aviation medical examiner in the civilian world, and hopefully work for NASA later.
It is what you make it, even if you hate your classes and you hate your teachers. It really is just whatever you make it. If you decide to have a good attitude about it, then you'll have a great time.
The thing that I've found is 99.9% of the time, as long as you put effort into it, everything will be okay.
Don't worry a ton about what other people are thinking. That's one thing I wish I would have done, is stayed more true to myself instead of worrying about other people all the time.
Definitely not doubt yourself, and don't procrastinate.
Definitely don't miss out on opportunities. I know I had choices to not do band, to focus on sports, but I kept with both. just taking every chance you have for new opportunities and new experiences.
Don't rush through it. Like, because even me too, like when you first start, you're like, oh, I just can't wait to graduate. Like these 4 years are gonna take forever, and I live in for the weekend, and I would just say like, enjoy the things that you do have. Like don't take it all for granted, because there are a lot of awesome things like people and wonderful experiences that go by really fast, and then you're gonna miss them when you're older. So.
Here is an EO Alive LeGrand story.
LeGrand High School's graduation is coming up this weekend. The class of 2019 seniors will be walking the platform this Saturday at 10 a.m. at LeGrand High School Gymnasium.
I feel like it's not believable. Like, I feel like the school's a little bit lying to us. Like, I don't know. It felt like it's make-believe, I guess. It's scary to think that we're just going to go and leave and live our lives type of thing, that we actually have no excuses as an adult.
It's surreal almost. It's just crazy how much life's going to change now, because it's been 4 years of the same stuff, a routine, and now we're basically just dropped into uncertainty.
It's sad, kind of, to leave all these memories behind, and I'm scared, but I'm also really excited because I know that college is going to be a lot of fun.
Probably junior year, the first time we won state for a cappella, just because it was like we'd worked really hard, and then this year we won again, and it was like we'd worked hard too, and so it was like it just paid off and it felt really rewarding and fulfilling, especially when you get so close to the people that you're singing with all the time.
Definitely football and band. Those are my main two extracurriculars during school, and making it to playoffs for football and making a brotherhood there, and then all the memories and trips for band.
Making all these new friends, like getting to know all the teachers and all the students, basically just meeting a bunch of wonderful people.
Probably one of my most favorite memories is winning state for track. First time ever that the boys had won state. I mean, and we won it by 20 points, which that's a really outstanding win. And it's really awesome to be a part of that legacy, and just it was just so amazing. I plan on joining the Air Force as aircraft armament, and I hope to come out of basic training as an E2.
So I have the Shriners football game at the end of the summer, which is like an all-star game. And then after that, I'm going on an LDS mission, so that's 2 years. And then after that, we'll see where things go.
I'm going to go to the University of Oregon, and I'm going to do the marching band there, and I'm hopefully going to study art and music.
I'm going to Oregon State. I'm in Corvallis, and I'm going to study pre-nursing and psychology, and then hopefully get a master's as a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And I'd like to study abroad and help survivors of sex crimes in developing countries.
I'm taking a gap year right now. During that gap year, I'm just going to be working here at Brent Clap Media Services, doing stuff for Eastern Oregon Alive and all of that stuff. And then once I do that, I'm going to go to EOU, run for my dad, and then study business. And then once I get all done with that, I'm thinking about transferring or doing a postgraduate program in film or something like that.
I've got big plans. So after I graduate, I'm heading off to basic training because I'm in the Army National Guard, and I'll be in Missouri for 2 months for basic, and then I'll be in Texas for 4 months for AIT, which is where I'll be trained as a medic. And then I'm coming back in late December, and then I'm heading down to Utah to go to BYU, and I'll major in physiology and developmental biology and minor in psychology. And I'll also do the ROTC program there. And then after that, I'll go to medical school. And then after that, I'll do my residency in aviation medicine, and I'll become a flight surgeon in the Army and an aviation medical examiner in the civilian world, and hopefully work for NASA later.
It is what you make it, even if you hate your classes and you hate your teachers. It really is just whatever you make it. If you decide to have a good attitude about it, then you'll have a great time.
The thing that I found is 99.9% of the time, as long as you put effort into it, everything will be okay.
Don't worry a ton about what other people are thinking. That's one thing I wish I would have done, is like stayed more true to myself instead of worrying about other people all the time.
Definitely not doubt yourself and don't procrastinate.
Definitely don't miss out on opportunities. I know I had choices to not do band, to focus on sports, but I kept with both. Just taking every chance you have for new opportunities and new experiences.
Don't rush through it. Like, because even me too, like when you first start, you're like, oh, I just can't wait to graduate. Like these 4 years are gonna take forever, and I live in for the weekend, you know. And I would just say, like, enjoy the things that you do have. Like don't take it all for granted, because there are a lot of awesome things, like people and wonderful experiences that go by really fast, and then you're gonna miss them when you're older. So.
Check, test, check, test. How are we doing back there? Good morning, everybody. We are just about getting ready to start. Final mic check. Okay, a little bit more. That's okay. How does that sound right there? Check, test. This seems to be a little bit better. Yeah, okay.
Thank you and good morning. Would you please take a moment to check your cell phones and put them on silent or turn them off? And would you please stand, rise as we sing the national anthem. Please welcome our a cappella choir from LeGrand High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the Associated Student Body President, it is my pleasure to thank you for being here today. Welcome to the LeGrand High School Commencement 2019. At this time, we'd like to wish good luck to our fellow Tigers as they represent LeGrand High School at the State Softball Championship. Thank you to Superintendent George Mendoza and board members Joe Justice and Merle Comfort for joining us today. Now please welcome Superintendent Mendoza.
Thank you, Tristan. Graduating seniors, parents, teachers, administrators, special guests, as a member of the LeGrand School District and on behalf of the LeGrand School Board, I'd like to welcome each of you this morning to celebrate the graduation of the LeGrand High School class of 2019. It is my privilege to accept officially this graduating class, and through that action, to signify that these young people in LeGrand High School class of 2019 have fulfilled the requirements of the state of Oregon and of the LeGrand School District. There are additional groups of individuals who cannot go unrecognized. Our teachers, our parents, coaches, and all staff members and school board members that work in support of our students and one another. These folks have spent many hours nurturing, teaching, guiding, supporting, and interacting with these students. The reality is that all of us have worked together so that we could make a collective impact on these students. This has included many lessons, classes, school activities, lunch meals, recesses, and sporting events. Many good times and sad times have been invested in the last 13 years to ensure that these students graduate. I'd like to ask our teachers, parents, coaches, support staff, and school board members of LeGrand School District to please stand and be recognized. Okay, for our graduates, we all stand here to recognize your efforts and your achievements. You deserve to be praised for your perseverance, your hard work, and your dedication. You've worked hard to meet the expectations for academics and social responsibility. We honor your efforts and hope that you will remember that the work you did was also for yourself and for your future. Please take time to rejoice and celebrate this wonderful accomplishment. This is a milestone in your life. However, please do not think that you've arrived. For many of you, your independent life is only going to begin. You are likely expected to go to college, a trade school, join the military, or get a job. Your parents, your family and friends, your community, and this world will become more demanding and expect more of you as you grow older into adulthood. My hope is that you rise to the occasion and meet the challenges and demands of truly becoming an independent, noble-minded, productive adult. Our world needs you to be the greatest generation ever to solve the current and future problems of this world. So I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote in this world as it relates to lifelong success and improvement. It is my hope that this message inspires you as it has inspired me for much of my life. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and will always solve the problems of the human race. This was written by Calvin Coolidge, the 30th President of the United States. And what that means to me is you don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to be the most talented, you don't have to be the best educated to make a difference in this world. You have to be persistent, you have to be determined. And if you grow those two habits very well, you will go very far in this world. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this important ceremony. Participation in this momentous occasion is one of the most pleasant and satisfying parts of being a superintendent. On behalf of LeGrand School District and LeGrand School Board, I again congratulate you for your achievements and wish you great success. May you remember the lessons that you were taught in class or outside of class and continue to learn and grow throughout your life.
We are fortunate enough to have Brett Baxter as our principal. Throughout our time at LHS, his hard work and dedication have helped us to be successful. He is joining us today to share some remarks, which he assures me will be brief. Please welcome Mr. Baxter.
It's my honor as well to welcome you to LeGrand High School. This is a moment that many have worked toward for many, many years. Similar to the last couple of years, as Tristan mentioned earlier, we're missing some people. We've got our softball team in Eugene preparing for that championship game. And 3 of those players are seniors in this class. So those senior ladies will be awarded their diplomas on the field after their game tonight. We'd encourage you to tune in. The game is at 5 o'clock. 103 Super Talk is broadcasting that, as well as online. You can watch it at nfhs.org. I want to thank several individuals and groups who have made this event possible today. Specifically, our custodial crew, Steve Levitt and Lester Kincaid, Jesse Scott, Dave Ganung, and Ken McCants, Joseph Waite and his grounds and maintenance crews, Malia Sheehy and Josette Poe. Our senior counselor, Teresa Dowdy, Patty O'Reilly and Shannon Shalene. Our senior advisors, Josh White and Christy Moore. Our assistant principal, Brett Smith. Our PE classes who helped set up this space, Leslie Wright, Angie Malone, Juliette Childs, Linda Lyman, and Letha Canfield. Thank you for your attention to detail and helping us be flexible in getting this set up and when it didn't go according to plan, making the adaptations we needed to. I also want to thank all of the faculty of LeGrand School District. As Superintendent Mendoza mentioned, it has taken a tremendous amount of work and a lot of people to get you graduates to this seat today. Today, this gathering of family and friends is to celebrate a final step in these graduates' high school careers. I would ask us to all pause for a moment and look around. Graduates, take a gander. Look around this room and see just how many people are here to support you in this moment. And this moment's important, but what's come before this day was much more important. I hope you recognize clearly that it took their support, their love, their care to get you to where you are sitting today. I'm sure you've noticed that several of our graduates have different cords around their necks, different stoles, medals, and those things signify the different accomplishments that they have made throughout their 4 years at the high school. Today we celebrate them for a variety of different things, but first I'd like to recognize those who earned Pathways endorsements. This year we have a record 80 Pathways endorsement earners in this class alone, which comprises more than half of the class. They have focused in a content area or more than one content area and have experienced some things in career-related learning and have been out in the community and businesses and organizations to further that work. We have students who focused in areas of agriculture, natural resources, manufacturing, visual arts, performing arts, business, culinary arts, and medical science. Would all of the Pathways completers please stand at this time? Thank you. Honors Diploma recipients. Congratulations, you've taken many of the most rigorous academic courses LHS offers and you've excelled in your studies. We appreciate your dedication to high academic standards and your commitment to challenging yourself. Outstanding work. Honors Diploma recipients, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. A handful of these amazing young people are entering military service after graduation and will serve our country in various branches for the next several years. We thank them for their willing service to our country, and so I'd ask the following to stand. Christian Wagaman. Christian will be serving in the Air Force. Kelly Danziger. Kelly will be entering the National Guard. Austin McDowell. Austin will serve in the Air Force. Eli McLean. Eli will be entering the Marine Corps. Kat Hansen. Right. Catherine will be entering the National Guard as well. Grayson Jensen. Grayson will be serving in the Navy. Now, will you please remain standing? For a moment, I'd like to ask all active duty current military personnel and veterans, would you please stand in the audience? Graduating seniors, you're in great company. Thank you. Now allow me to share a couple of brief thoughts. I recently heard a story that I'd like to share with you. Not too many years ago, there was a vicious storm that occurred on the Oregon coast. It was near Camp Merriweather, which is a Boy Scout camp around Tillamook, Oregon. By all accounts, it was a ferocious storm. It strained through the night, forcing all the residents nearby to hunker down and ride it out. The next morning, in the aftermath of the wind and rain and waves, 2 men made their way to the beach to survey the damage to the coastline. And what they saw astounded them. Giant trees were sheared off and strewn across the sand and rocks. Large boulders were broken loose from the cliffs above. Branches and debris littered the beach as far as they could see. Old logs had been heaved up from the sea onto the land. And as they walked and spoke in amazement, they noticed someone walking toward them from the south. As they approached the stranger, they noticed something odd. This man was stooping from time to time and picking something up from the sand and then throwing it far out into the surf. With the level of destruction around them, this seemed like a senseless effort. Nearing the man, though, they soon saw that it was simple starfish he was picking up from the ground one by one and throwing into the ocean. Again, they commented to each other about the futile effort being made when such a monumental transformation had just occurred to this place. When they got close enough to speak with this stranger, one of the men asked him, "What in the world are you doing?" He replied quietly that he was trying to save the starfish. With disgust and disbelief, the other man shot back, "You can't be serious. Look around, there's too much damage. You can't save them all. Does it even matter?" Patiently, the stranger paused, then stooped again, carefully picked up yet another stranded starfish, and tossed it into the sea. Then he turned back to the 2 men with incredulous looks, and he said calmly, "Well, it mattered to that one." Seniors, if you can make a change, just a small change, just one in the life of someone who's struggling, isn't it worth your selfless effort? Please know that for the rest of your lives, you will never run out of chances and opportunities to make a difference, to make a positive change in the lives of those around you. I'm here to tell you, you'll be surrounded by these chances all your life, all the time. Make it a daily challenge for yourself. Who can I help today? I guarantee you, despite the chaos all around, it will matter to that one. Lastly, I hope you'll continue to cultivate a sense of gratitude and pay what you've been given forward. Be tiger ambassadors wherever you go, wherever you end up in this world, and pay it forward. The world is already a better place because of you, and I'm confident you'll continue to make a positive impact in your chosen paths. Class of 2019, thank you for what you've taught me. Thank you for what you've done at LHS and the legacy you've left here. I congratulate each of you. It took a tremendous amount of work, again, to end up in these seats today, on your part and from all of these people here today and many others. I know each of you will continue to make waves in your life. May God bless you to make a difference of strength and hope in the lives of others. Thank you.
The class of 2019 senior class president is Liz Babcock. Please join me in welcoming her to this podium.
Dear class of 2019, the concept of writing this speech has been weighing on my mind since I chose to run for the senior president position last year. I like to think that I procrastinated writing because it was too scary for me to think that we were actually graduating. But as graduation got closer and closer, I was forced to sit down and quit avoiding the inevitable. I have spent hours staring at my blank computer screen, asking for outside opinions, writing and rewriting to find what I can possibly say is a tribute to the last 4 years, and finally I've come to this. 4 years ago, each of us entered high school with no idea of what was to come. Some of us were scared out of our minds, and some were confident and comfortable. Regardless, it didn't take long for the upperclassmen to train us in the ways of our high school's culture and rid us of our obnoxious freshman habits. Most of us anyway, because for some of us it took a little longer. Many of us began to find our places, and before we knew it was happening, our high school years have come to an end. As someone who has been a student in the LeGrand School District for 13 years, it has been my privilege to grow and learn with each of you by my side the entire time. I can specifically recall my days at Island City Elementary, building birds' nests out of pine needles, playing Foursquare at recess, hunting gingerbread men, and playing ultimate frisbee against all the other elementary schools. I can also remember my days at the middle school, learning plant names for outdoor school, struggling through the static arm hang for PE testing, creating weekly WCTV segments, and enduring awkward sex ed classes. But my favorite memories are the ones I've made in my time here at LHS. Losing my voice at football games and volleyball tournaments, getting fancy for school dances, traveling and competing for sports and clubs, and working together to create an awesome homecoming for our senior year. As Josh White always says, it's not the classes that make high school memorable, but it's the people and the activities that do. I couldn't agree more. Now, as we finish up our high school years, we are about to embark on new journeys and create new experiences. For many of us, this means leaving our hometown, family, and friends, and creating new lives for ourselves. For all of us, this means leaving the familiarity of high school and going out to earn our place within a newer and bigger community. In our time here, we've achieved a lot. We've overcome tremendous obstacles and accomplished amazing things, both personal and school-related. I've been so blessed to have witnessed firsthand all of our growth as a class and as individuals, and am confident that we will continue to do amazing things in our lives beyond high school. When asking my fellow classmates what their favorite things about our class and our time at LHS were, the most common response I received was the teamwork and support between students. To quote one of our classmates, "School and our class have always felt like more of a home to me than a house ever did." After some reflection, it is easy for me to say that I've loved being a part of the community that we've created. The best advice I can think of for myself, as well as for all of you, is to recreate the good parts of LeGrand and LeGrand High School wherever we go. I hope we never forget the sense of belonging we felt during homecoming week, or the enthusiasm when we qualified for and won state championships, the success of passing final exams, and the connection we felt to each other during the highs and lows of our last year together. Most importantly, I hope we never forget the community we built. So thank you to each of you, students and staff of LHS, for creating a place that felt like a home for 4 years. It's been a beautiful place to be, and it's so hard to say goodbye. Yet I also know that we graduates are ready to move on to the next phase of our lives. It is my hope as we move forward that we never forget our shared experiences and memories, that we never forget how interconnected we are, and I especially hope we never forget how extraordinary we are. Thank you.
We're blessed at LeGrand High School with the quality of students we have, and we'd like to introduce once again a student group that has proven its excellence over and over this year by earning yet another state championship at the 4A OSAA State Choir Championships. Please welcome members of our a cappella choir and their director, Kevin Durfee.
beautiful musical number. It's my privilege to introduce the honorees of the LeGrand High School class of 2019. This year, the graduating class has 3 students who have earned the distinction of achieving a 4.0 grade point average every semester for the last 4 years and the title of valedictorian. Their accomplishments are distinctive, not only because they are a very talented and intelligent group of students, but because of their determination to rise up to their potential. Our honorees are students who have set goals, worked diligently for 4 years, made personal sacrifices, and never lost sight of their goal, even through personal challenges that we all face that at times may seem insurmountable. Looking at the students we are recognizing, I see young people who have excelled in the classroom. I also see students who made great contributions to their school and their community. These students have represented LHS in athletics, in state competitions in our school CTE programs, and in school clubs and organizations. They have demonstrated leadership while at LHS. I watched last week during our senior awards ceremony as these individuals got a workout walking up and down the stairs to the stage to receive their awards and scholarships. It was truly impressive. It is apparent that this group of students is committed to excellence, not only in the classroom, but in all aspects of their lives. We salute the 2019 honorees for their academic excellence and achievements, and we wish them well in their future endeavors. Congratulations. Will the following students please come forward for the presentation of your medallions? Caitlin Baines. Daughter of Megan and Keith Baines, Caitlin plans to attend Eastern Oregon University in the fall. Gotta love the hat. Braden Bell. Son of Michelle and Brian Bell, Brian plans to attend Gonzaga University in the fall. Adam Endris. Son of Maren Peterson and Brian Endris, Adam plans to attend the University of Miami in the fall. Will you please join me in another round of applause for all 3 of these fine students? I'd like to welcome our honorees to the podium for the presentation of their speeches. Ms. Caitlin Baines will start us off.
Greetings, fellow peers, staff, family, and friends. I am standing in front of you for one reason and one reason only. I am a valedictorian. But before I get into that, I realize not that many of you know who I am. So I'll give you a little backstory as to who I am. I am Caitlin Baines, and man, did I used to suck at school. Strange as that may seem, it's very true. Math was by far my worst subject. I hated it with a burning passion. I would spend hours crying my eyes out in frustration as my poor father attempted to help me with my homework. He would give me the classic, well, this isn't how we learned it back in my day grumble, as he tried to figure out what the heck was going on, because I definitely didn't know. English was okay, but I didn't read that much. And since my mother was my elementary school librarian, I could see how that could be quite aggravating for her. I would spend my afternoons after school in her library coloring or running around. And as she was shelving books, she'd occasionally hold up a book in hopes that she would grab my attention, and I'd typically just run right by. She eventually realized I was not going to be the glamorous bookworm she hoped for as a daughter, and bless her heart, she graciously accepted that. I did, however, take a great interest in science. And to my mother's greatest fear, I took a liking to the messier side of science, or as she liked to call it, kitchen science. Kitchen science was essentially taking whatever fancied me from the cabinets, and with no regard as to how much of a mess I was making, I would mix it. I would then gleefully present my parents with my masterpiece and be on my way. My poor mother would then go into her kitchen, discover the mess, and think, man, I'm going to need a power washer and some highly corrosive chemicals to even make a dent in this mess. All the while, I was in the living room demonically laughing as I played with my slime. Despite my struggle in academics that seemed to have no end in sight, my dear parents have supported me no matter what. Whether I've succeeded or failed, they were proud of me. Throughout my wild involvement in activities from synchronized swimming and traditional Irish dancing to my roller coaster of an education, they expressed endless support and love. My struggle in academics finally subsided around 7th grade when I was placed in a math class for struggling students and provided with the support I needed to succeed. Since then, I have felt that failure, or simply falling short of any goal, was unacceptable. I became somewhat of an academic perfectionist in my high school career and built my identity off of the fact that I was an intelligent individual. In my mind, if the grade I received wasn't an A grade, I had failed because I knew I was expected by myself and others to be getting an A. While this mentality did get me a 4.0 GPA, it caused quite a bit of conflict in me, mentally, physically, and emotionally. In obtaining this 4.0, I realized I really didn't need it. Yes, there was self-gratification in finishing 4 years of high school with a perfect GPA, but in all reality, what did it actually get me? To be specific, got me on the stage, somewhat temporary satisfaction, and for the few who actually asked what my GPA was, I got a couple of wows, some eyebrow raises, and the occasional "that's impressive." But in all reality, I discovered that while my 4-point looks good on paper, it doesn't go much further than that. However, what I learned in the pursuit of my 4.0 goes beyond paper. I learned that the relationships you build with your superiors, whether it be your boss or your teachers, are beyond priceless. Not only will it help you when you are struggling and need a little extra help or compassion, but it will also provide you with an amazing bond. I have known teachers to reach out in times of seclusion, family emergency, and struggle without the student having to ask. To have someone care enough to take time out of their day to check on someone is something astonishing, and for those who did that for me, I thank you. I also learned that putting your own health and sanity at risk for a grade is never, and I mean never, worth it. I can't count how many times I caught myself nodding off on my way to school because I had been up until 4 a.m. the night before perfecting a paper, or the number of meals I didn't eat because I had to make sure I knew every bit of information for the test the next day and was too nauseated at the possibility of failure. Countless times, I risked my health for my grade, and every time, the effort I put in and the result that came of it never seemed to be equal. From all of this, I learned that what each and every one of us should strive for is our personal best, our personal goals, and our personal happiness in our expedition of life. Set realistic goals and realize if you fall short, it's okay. Go out and create your own kitchen science. Have fun and learn from it. Discover your passions and your values, for those are the pillars in which you will build your life on and the beacon that directs you when everything else has gone dark. My dearest peers, perfection is perfectly boring. Live your life full of mistakes, because it is in the mess of imperfection that you will grow and find yourself. Thank you. Please welcome our next speaker, Braden Bell.
Hello, everyone. I couldn't decide how to start my speech, so I decided I'm going to list my top 50 favorite books of all time and what each of them taught me. Starting with 50 Shades of Grey, I learned that there's more to a person than what meets the eye. I'm joking. I swear I won't talk about any books. Besides, I haven't even read 50 Shades of Grey yet. Being valedictorian has been my goal since middle school. I've dreamed about standing up here and giving a speech since forever. But I don't want this speech to only be about me. To say my success in school is entirely self-made would be a lie. My teachers, my parents, and my classmates have pushed me to be better than I was yesterday. Thanks to them, I am standing up here, and without them, my life would be very different. This is going to be a really bittersweet goodbye for me. High school has been an amazing experience, and I'm sad to see parts of it go. I think when I stood on the basketball court for the last time, remembering all the exhilarating victories and heartbreaking defeats, I realized that it's all coming to an end. But I've made a lot of good memories on the way. The last song at prom this year was Bohemian Rhapsody, and you better believe my friends and I sang and danced our hearts out. I won't forget that. I also won't forget closing out my last assembly after a fantastic year in student government. Also, forgetting my last round of high school golf will be hard, mostly because I wanted to throw my clubs in the water right after. I think my favorite part, however, has been watching my classmates grow up. I've gotten a glimpse at what you guys can be, and I'm excited to see where the world takes you. I know everyone is counting down the minutes until they can turn their tassels and move on with their lives and say goodbye to the high school. But at the end of the day, this is still a goodbye, and saying goodbye is really hard for me. Thankfully, I don't have to say goodbye to some things just yet, including my family. However, I think going to college in the fall and not being around them 24/7 will be one of the hardest things I've done. I know they would go to the ends of the earth for me. It's going to be weird not being around my parents, Brian and Michelle. I'd like to thank you both, Mom and Dad, for being my #1 fans, no matter what I'm doing, and for loving me unconditionally. Mom, you're the strongest, most competitive person I know, and I couldn't imagine my life without you. Dad, if I end up being half the person, father, and coach you are, I will consider my life an outstanding success. Now is as good as a time as any to tell you how much I appreciate the sacrifices you've made for me. I love you guys with all my heart. Another thing I get to hold on to after graduation is the memories I've made with my student family. Don't get me wrong, the teachers, staff, and parents of LHS have made these last 4 years feel like time spent at a second home. We have a superb school district filled with wonderful people. I have no complaints about any of the adults at LHS, and any child would be lucky to meet these fantastic, caring people. But the student body, especially the seniors, have been my second family. I've gotten to know almost all of you, and we've had the chance to have some amazing experiences. We've spent a lot of time in high school together, almost a third of a day, every weekday, for 36 months. With this time spent together, we've had our arguments and we've had our fights, like siblings often do. But at the end of the day, I know somebody from my class will always have my back. And I hope they know I will always be there for them, because that's how families work. Things like that are what makes it hard to say goodbye to the second family. Overall, it's been a crazy roller coaster full of adventures, memories, and great times with great people. I could stand up here and thank almost every person at LHS for the positive impact they've had on me. I could talk about the amazing times we've had, or how they've impacted some part of my life, or how they've affected my journey through LeGrand School District. Sadly, part of this amazing journey is the end. There's no denying how much we've matured, how many things we've learned, and all of the life lessons we've experienced. A time like high school isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's beautiful because it meant something. It's beautiful because our time had an impact on us and the people around us. My one piece of advice moving forward is to always continue learning, especially from your mistakes. I challenge you to find one adult in this room who hasn't made a mistake in the last year. The world is full of opportunities to improve ourselves. Go out and seize those opportunities. But don't forget these last 4 years. Even if you hated high school, everyone can learn something from it. We can learn a lot from our mistakes because mistakes make us human. Don't be afraid to fail, and when the world inevitably knocks you down, find the strength to get back up. I would like to take a moment to recognize 2 students who have shown this strength and resiliency. Kelly Danziger and Riley Levitt have inspired me throughout this entire year because of the challenges they've had to overcome. With their permission, I have the chance to honor them today. Earlier this year, these 2 friends of mine lost their moms. It was heartbreaking for everyone, but I can't imagine what it was like for them. Yet, here they are today, graduating with a plethora of scholarships and a clear path for their future. I know for sure both of you will go on to do amazing things. Just as I look at you with pride and admiration in my heart, I know your moms are too. My challenges are minuscule compared to the challenges some of my classmates have faced. In the back of my mind, I know someday the world won't be so kind to me. But when I do get knocked down, I'll look back to the people I had the chance to grow up with, and I'll remember how much our little family has shaped who I am as a person. Thank you, all of you, for making high school such a fond memory. And thank you for helping me become the best possible version of myself. Please welcome our next speaker, Adam Endres.
First of all, never trust an atom. They make up everything. I received much advice on how to write my graduation speech. It was to not use too many puns on the threat of bodily harm, and to keep it short. I was going to bring my watch, but I couldn't find the time. I was all wound up. I'll try not to be talking too much. So, how are you all doing? I'd like to share some of my highlights of school. Walking to and from it was the best part of the day. Every day possible, I would pause and pet the cats on Cedar Street. You can learn a lot from cats. A person's most important trait is one's personality. And to be successful, one has to be persuasive and persistent. Everyone had their favorite classes. For me, it was the sciences. I was in my element. In chemistry, I struggled periodically. I would tell some better puns, but all the good ones are gone. Whatever you do, get a charge out of it. One of my timeless memories of science was having teachers, including science teachers, sign a petition to ban dihydrogen monoxide, commonly known as water. That made a splash. Of course, school could be tiring. In geometry, we were all out of shape. Thankfully, when we didn't understand math, our teacher summed it up. There were a number of good points in math. 1, be rational. 2, be real. 3, make a difference. And 4, encourage equality, including for people with disabilities and other protected classes. Justice is lacking. School is also a place to challenge oneself. I joined the swim team. It was proof I'd gone off the deep end. The LHS swim team is one of the most successful sports in the history of LHS. This year, we won districts. We had to pool our skills to win. As time passes, we're going to see changes in our lifetimes and potentially be a part of those changes. Some may seek to achieve greatness, such as when Einstein developed a theory of space. It was about time, too. Or someone might join the U.S. Space Force. That would be out of this world. As for me, I'm headed to University of Miami for computer engineering. I hope I can hack it. Someone who is important in helping me focus my ideas was Dr. Glabe, a local optometrist. He could clearly see my interests in virtual and augmented reality, and he expanded my vision on opportunities. As I finish, I have some final words of wisdom. First, we're graduating, but that doesn't mean that we have lost our class. Finally, as every soccer player knows well, goals are important. Go ahead, take a shot at your dreams. Thank you.
It's with great pleasure that I now invite up to the podium someone who's made a distinct impact on this year's senior class, both individually and as a group. Would you please give a round of applause to the one and only Senora of LHS, Ann March.
Thank you, Brett. Well, I can only assume that I'm up here today because you haven't heard me speak all that much English and you were wondering what I might have to say. But seriously, it's an honor. Teaching here at LHS, I'm grateful. I've had the chance to get to know many of you, to be part of a team of people who care deeply about your success. You may not realize this, but you've given the staff here a joy and a purpose that gives us a great deal of fulfillment. And yes, you've given us some gray hairs too. I know that some of you look at our jobs and you think, no way, I could never do that. But you might be surprised how this profession keeps us energized because of your potential, your quick minds, your humor, and your resourcefulness. As Mr. Mendoza said, you're here right now because of many people in this room and some people who aren't here. He's right. One thing that you have in common is persistence. Some of you are also here today because you overcame incredible hardship and adversity in your personal lives, and it's nothing short of remarkable that you made it. You know who you are. You're especially strong and resilient, and you've acquired many skills and much character from your experiences. So you're all headed into a big time of transition, which is very exciting and possibly intimidating. The truth is there's not much that I can say that you don't already know, that you don't already have inside you to help you navigate this time ahead. Recently, I heard, as you did, about the revelations that some parents were buying their children's way into prestigious schools, having others take their SAT tests and falsifying records to pave the way for a future for them. How very unfortunate and totally wrong on many levels, the worst of which, in my opinion, is the message from adults that they, the students, aren't capable enough to find their way themselves. That is just not true. The thing that really caught my attention was that some of them falsely claimed that they were members of teams that they weren't on. In some cases, sailing teams. How very ironic, since sailboats by design move forward only under their own power. So today, I'd like to talk about sailing. This is the part where you ask yourselves, uh-oh, where's this going? Señora está loca. Why did we ask her to speak? But stay with me. I can tell you that this whole speech lasts 6.5 minutes, and good news, we are already at 2:31. So right after high school in landlocked Nevada, where I grew up, I did something questionable, and I ignored all the practical advice that one gets when one graduates. I took some of my savings and all of my graduation money. I bought a bus ticket to Seattle, and I went on a trip by myself. I had signed up for 10 days on a tall ship called the schooner Adventurous. For some reason, when I heard about the possibility of that trip, it just felt like something I needed to do. So on board, I was taught how to sail a 113-foot sailboat, how to read ocean charts, tie knots, and especially I learned how to make an opportunity for myself. Because it was 100% my own decision to go, albeit a little bit crazy, that made it the more thrilling. It was not a very practical thing to do, to spend my money and my time on something like that. When that trip was over and my money was gone, I wasn't ready to leave. I asked about how I could get a job on that boat and stay longer. So they put me to work in the galley where I baked things that came out slanted because sailboats don't stay upright when they're moving. Soon after that, and maybe it was because the food I made wasn't so good, I was moved topside to work as a deckhand on the ship, showing new trainees how to do what I had learned. And that summer changed me in ways that were profound. Out there, I found that people are generally helpful and kind and really interesting, and especially that I could maneuver myself well through brand new territory. I also learned that opportunity looks a lot like hard work. After that, I was hooked on traveling and sailing. Though I knew nothing about racing small boats, I went to the sailing team in college and said, how do I sign up? And I was really bad at first, and I made some epic mistakes, but eventually worked my way into skippering my own boat. Those experiences brought me to summer camp jobs where I led trips and discovered something life-changing, that teaching others was very, very rewarding. All of that brought me to where I am today. Your path will not look like mine or anyone else's in this room, but it will be yours, and you are in charge now. I encourage you to sail your own boat out there, to make opportunities happen for yourself, because those will be the most gratifying. They will make you feel the most alive and will lead you to where you're supposed to be. Listen to your moral compass. If an opportunity or a path or a plan makes you uneasy, it's probably not right for you. Don't be afraid to say no and to change course when you need to. When you're unclear or confused, don't be afraid to ask for advice. Don't be afraid to pause, take a break, let the answer come to you. The correct direction will get more clear with time, so give it time. Be open to new ideas. Take your opinions out into the open air once in a while and throw them overboard if they don't make sense anymore. Change your mind. Most importantly, as Caitlin and Braden said, make your own mistakes and then figure out how to fix them. That is the good part. Know that you are strong, capable, and worthy of the progress that you make. You will need the help of others along the way, but really your success is going to come from you. And as time passes, find some way to share what you've learned with other people. It will make a lasting difference to them and to you. When you have some time to spare, share your time, your money, and your great energy with others. Earn people's trust and help people find their way. So now the English major in me would like to close with a poem. I hope it will resonate with you at some point on your journey. It's called Blessing the Boats by Lucille Clifton. May the tide that is entering even now, the lip of our understanding, carry you out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water, water waving forever, and may you in your innocence sail through this to that. Muchísimas gracias y buen viaje.
Superintendent Mendoza, board members Joe Justice and Merle Comfort, as the principal of LeGrand High School, I certify that these seniors sitting before you, the class of 2019, have met all of the standards of graduation as required by the state of Oregon and the school board of LeGrand. They are now ready to receive their diplomas. So graduating class of 2019, would you please come forward as you're called to receive your diplomas?
Faith Elizabeth Akers. All right. Lila May Alf Rippey. Mason Allen Allmiller. Elizabeth Ashley Babcock. Caitlin Josephine Baines. Tanner Reed Barnhart. Landry Grace Baum. Isaiah Thomas Michael Beck. Braden Allen Bell. Joseph Michael Bell. Gabriel Thomas Blackman. Tahara Sienna Burling. Tess Carlotta Cahill. Chelsea Denise Cabrera Castro. Kaya Patricia Chandler. Justin Edward Comfort. Rebecca Lynn Conklin. Trista Marie Connell. Paloma Hazel Cook. Kalina Malie Correa. Aaron Richie Corsini. Timothy Trey Fight Thomas.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a picture right here.
Look right there at the camera.
Kyler Tristan Rasmussen.
Abby Rosella Cruz. Caitlin Elizabeth Krauser. Soraya Kareen Dolly. Booker Mark Dames. Lena Ray Danforth. Kelly Noel Danziger. David Wesley Durbin. Madison Danielle Dutcher. Garen Joseph Dudo. James Glenn Elliott. Alonia Grace Emerson. Adam Matthew Peterson Indress. Braden Thomas Faith. Natasha May Flagg. Caden Michael Fergulia. Oscar Javier Galindo. Uma Lizzie Marie Kindarger. Sorry, Uma. I'm really sorry. Ty Anthony Gover. Caden Michael Green Chandler. Catherine Lara Hansen. Mary Elizabeth Claire Hardy. Noelle Christine Hayes.
Heber Brigham Hendrickson. Wesley Clinton Howard. Chloe Hazel Ingram. Ryan Tyler Jackman. Riley Gage Jeffries. Daniel Adam Jensen. David Enoch Jensen. Grayson Wayne Jensen. Alyssa Gail Jones. Angelina Alexandrovna Karpanak. Lisa Michelle Cloer. Owen Wyatt Kreutz. Lily Montana Lawrence. Riley Mar Levitt. Ashlyn Marie Lofton. Kyler James Malone. Bella McHale Martin. Ashley Danielle Finlou Martinez. Jillian Elizabeth Marvel. Braden Michael McCall. Carson Stewart McClelland. Austin J. McDowell. Ezra Jean McIntosh. Elijah Donald McLean. Bailey Elizabeth McNeil. Sierra Sathako Masubin. Dylan Patrick Miles. Cole Benjamin Miller. Josie Marie Moran. Jevin Kyle Morris. Thomas Brody Morton. Kylie Mariah Meilenberg. Caitlin Patricia Mulryan. Ashlyn Shay Nelson. Mariah Ann Nickerson. Maria Jose Ortiz. Siglali Ortiz Lopez. Theron David Peak. Mizaya Ray Pernew. Tristan Dale Pratt. Tara Rayana Raybine. Scott Joseph Remley. Georgia Marie Renteria.
Jillian Suzanne Roberts. Natalia Michelle Robles Meda. Raquela Victoria Ryan. Yo Sato. Mara Jade Sampson. Amber Lynn Schlegel. Ashley Marie Schlinker. Jacob William Schmidl. Michael James Sidmore.
Hayden Quinn Schaefer. Lindsay Nicole Shaw. Jacob Tyler Shepard. Calvin Daniel Smith. Cameron Stephen Smith. Kendra Nicole Smith. Kendra Shetry Smith. Molly Elise Smith. Max Christian Strand. Logan Andrew Stubblefield. Natalie Louise Summerlin. Dylan Scott Torres. Lilia Lynn Torres. Rebecca Ann Troutman.
Nicholas Constantine Chaches. Ismael Noten Velasquez. Maritza Villagomez Ortiz. Kimberly Ann Wagner. Jared Robert Wagner. Jeffrey Scott Walker. Christian Joseph Wagaman. Tristan Lee Weimer. Alex Patrick Weisenflew. Ayla Starr Welch. Bennett Michael Welch. Sajan Charles White. Gage Corbett Wilcox. Arthur Ripley Williams. Monique Teresa Williams Santiago. India Renee Wright. Bailey Lynn Young.
Kiri Michelle Dawn Young. Hunter Royal Youngblood. Isaac Thomas Zamora. Yeah, but we have to do the thank yous first. The past 4 years have been incredibly action-packed and memorable. We, the class of 2019, would like to take a little time to appreciate those who have worked extremely hard to help prepare us for today. First, thank you Ms. Sheehy and Ms. Poe for making today's program possible. Also, thank you for putting so much time and effort into all of our senior events and transcripts. Thank you to Steve Levitt and his custodial staff for transforming this gym into a wonderful graduation ceremony for the class of 2019. Thank you to our senior class counselor, Teresa Dowdy, for guiding us, listening to us, and making sure we all met the requirements so we could be here today. Also to Leslie Wright, our Aspire coordinator, and to Angie Malone, the CTE coordinator. You've been there helping us get those college scholarship applications in, find mentors, and develop our pathway endorsements. A huge thanks to Christy Moore and Josh White for being our senior class advisors and for and for getting all the behind-the-scenes stuff done to make our senior year one to remember. We would also like to thank the LeGrand High School Band and Choir, directed by Chris Levitt and Kevin Durfee, for providing the music today. And as the class of 2019, we would like to give a huge thank you to our parents. They're the reason we're here today. Without them or their support, we wouldn't have made it this far. I would personally like to thank all those parents who put on a great senior banquet and the amazing efforts of those parents who organized our senior grad night celebration. Mr. Smith, we are so glad you joined our school. You hit the ground running, and your consistency, dedication, and understanding have had a positive impact on our senior year. We wish you the best of luck without the class of 2019 to entertain you. And Mr. Baxter, we, the senior class, want to thank you for all your hard work, dedication, and leadership in helping guide us through the policies and procedures to get us here today. We thank you for your consistent efforts, and we know you'll miss us. Last, but definitely not least, our class would like to thank our teachers. You've been there through the good and the bad and have always given the extra effort to help us in any way possible. You've made us who we are today and have helped prepare us for the world beyond high school. Thank you.
One quick important reminder to our audience members. We ask that you honor the graduates as we finish today by staying at your seats until the staff and graduates have left, and then you'll be able to take pictures and those kind of things right outside the front doors of the gym and auditorium. Also, 3 of these flower baskets at the front of the stage are for the families of the valedictorians. So those families should please feel free to take one after the graduates have left. So class of 2019, would you please stand?
Please join us in turning your tassel to the left, signifying that graduation is complete.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are your 2019 LeGrand High School graduates.